Hi viewers, welcome to Majesty Christian Television Network. My name is Apostle Heliru Dokeno. This is our health segment. So I'm going to be your hostess in this program. So I invite you to relax, and thanking you as well for welcoming us in your home. Relax and join, participate in this very discussion because it will really help you. In case you are living in Bijlmer Centrum, Bijlmer Southoost, this broadcast is going to help you a lot. So our topic today is, why are Bijlmer Centrum residents having less healthiness, or why the unfavorable competitive health status in Bijlmer Centrum? So our guest today is somebody you know, our own person. But before I introduce him, let me just give you a brief introduction to this topic. According to a report in Area Plan 2019 for the Bijlmer Centrum statistics, it indicates that the residents are less healthy when compared to the Amsterdam average. For example, they smoke more, about 36% versus 28%. They have a higher risk of mental symptoms, about 12% versus 7%. There are more reports of child abuse than the average, 10% according to 100 inhabitants versus 4 for Amsterdam. And then the 10-year-olds are also overweight, 31% versus 24%. So with the facts, as you have seen, it is very important to raise this awareness so that the parents who are indwellers in Bijlmer Centrum will think about this and look for solution. So this is why we are trying to do this show. Our guest today is our own person, Dr. F. Ogbuli. Dr. Ogbuli is also a community physician, a family doctor, and our GP here. So with a dependable experience of the health situation of the local residents. So join me as we welcome Dr. Ogbuli to Majesty TV.
Thank you very much.
Welcome so much.
Thank you.
And we are pleased to have you.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here again.
Yes. So those of you who are watching us on Facebook, please join us and make your contributions. In case you have our WhatsApp and you want to send your questions, please remember it is 3162-604-6432. So call the studio line in case as well you want to interact with the doctor on 3374-160. That's 020. So give us your own take on this topic. So once again, Dr. Ogbuli, you have heard the research findings which was carried out, and then it is showing that those who dwell in the Bijlmer Centrum, they have lesser, they are lesser healthy than those who are in the Amsterdam. And because your practice is here in Southoost, we think there's no other person who can know this topic better than you. So that's why you are here, sir. So our first question goes this way. What would be your first reaction to the formation statistics?
My first reaction will be statistics. I love statistics. Most importantly, they help you to be able to plan, to see the trends within the society. You also have a basis of comparison. Yeah. But statistics do not always have a human face. They have numbers.
Yeah.
Statistics are not what everybody carries. It's an average of what has been observed within the population.
Okay.
And it's strange because when you there was a research coming out of England, and they said they measured the happiness genes, and they found that Nigerians have a happier happiness gene.
Really?
So this statistics looks at various aspects of health, and you cannot take one aspect in isolation of the others.
Okay.
It's what makes a complete human being. Okay. A state of physical, mental, and social, and economic well-being. Yeah. It's not merely the absence of disease or infirmity, I would always say. Okay. And secondly, some of those things may be important, and it's certainly good for the city administrators. It's also good for people who can put some of these items to a face and they can run with it.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we all have to do with our individual patients, individual families, and we can see where things that are mentioned fits into our life and see if there are areas we can improve or things that we need to ask for help. So yes, statistics are good, but they are numbers.
All right, thank you. Okay, regarding smoking, can you confirm noticing this trend yourself, and what would you attribute to the higher rate of smoking from these areas?
Smoking, you know, you should ask the cigarette smokers if they sell more cigarettes in Amsterdam Southeast. Because they will give you a better statistic of if people in Amsterdam Southeast. And of course, I don't know if this number is related to Africans or Surinamese people or black people or people of different races living here.
Yes.
Because we know that the Chinese do have a higher smoking rate than Africans in general.
Yeah.
And it didn't specify if we're dealing with the younger population or those who are middle-aged already retired. So I mean, my experience when I started to work here, I had a number of people who smoked, but they are not a large proportion of my practice. But from the moment we started, we actively discourage people, especially young people, from starting to smoke. We joined in every campaign that was possible. We put the posters and we said it's not good to start. The long-term effects, the economic effects, the risk to your health are higher than on the average. And two, there were people who had chronic diseases. And we knew that combination of smoking and diseases like high blood pressure would damage the blood vessels. With diabetes, it would damage the blood vessels. And damaged blood vessels can damage blood flow to vital organs. And it could lead to stroke, to heart, myocardial infarction, heart attack. So amongst this group of people, we hired nurse practitioners who would see them. We encouraged them on each aspect of the risk factors that are involved in what they do. And some of them have been able to stop smoking with help of the things that we have asked them to do. Of course, some of them have found it difficult to smoke, and these are people who have been smoking for years and who are addicted to smoking. And we know from experience that those who are able to stop smoking would need to start mentally by stopping to smoke. So they need to make a decision upstairs. And if they're able to make those decisions, every supportive thing that we do would then help them to be able to stop smoking. But again, I can't comment on the numbers that say that people in the Southeast are smoking more or less. I have not seen the statistics. I have not seen the sub-classification of those statistics. But we could go tomorrow and ask the cigarette sellers if they sell more. No, they do. Those statistics are there. They could tell you precisely where they sell more of a particular brand. The companies monitor their products. They monitor people who order from them and stock their shops, just like they monitor medications. We know that in the Southeast, we may probably use blood pressure medications more because we have more colored people who have high blood pressure than if you go to maybe the center of Amsterdam. So these things are monitored. They know where what moves. So you can actually do a rough survey by going down to Amsterdam Spot tomorrow morning and asking the guys there if they get more people buying cigarettes, how often they stock per week, and then asking the same question to people in the Centrum.
But what recommendation do you think you can give to those who are perhaps smoking, since it is detrimental to their health?
Now, it's known that cigarette smoking is bad. Number one, it's very the smell is nasty. It's not something you want to
Exactly.
to have. So one, it is an unhealthy thing for you and for people around you. That's number one. Two is it robs your income from your pocket, either because of your addiction, or because of peer pressure, or for any other reason, maybe stress, that you feel I have to smoke something. It robs you of an income that could go into the family unit for other useful things.
Yeah.
And those who are smoking, they are a problem to those who are not smoking.
Yeah, a lot.
Because if you go to a place where smoking is allowed, and for instance, you are an entertainer, you have to perform in those places, you may secondarily get lung problems because you inhale the same smoke and the toxic substances that come with it.
Yes.
So yes, it's a danger to even your home.
Yeah, it's true.
We encourage people who have young children. It stunts their growth. If mothers are pregnant and they smoke, the smoke can get into the womb and get into the circulation of the babies inside.
Yeah.
It stunts the growth of the babies.
Really?
And even when the children are born and they are at home, those who have things like asthma, their asthma can be exaggerated in outcomes in terms of, because these things irritate their airways.
Yes.
And of course, if you are a man or a woman with a partner who smokes, you don't want to kiss the person. It stinks. It's and
terrible.
the teeth.
Exactly.
If you look at the teeth of people that smoke, it is darker. So it's not nice to look at. When I look at Apostle here, his teeth, it looks well kept.
And mine too.
And neat. And when you look at the teeth of people that smoke, it rusts more easily. The colors are bad.
Yeah.
And these are things that you don't want to. So yes, I will encourage anybody, anytime,
to stop
smoking. You don't get richer by smoking. Actually, the government, even though they make a lot of money out of selling and getting the tax payments on cigarettes, they still tell you that cigarette smoking is dangerous to your health. If you get complications, your lung emphysema or lung cancer, it costs the health insurance much more. It has a larger impact on your quality of life.
Yeah.
So we encourage people, don't even start.
Exactly. And but you know, it's like it is very difficult for them to pull out from it when they have formed that habit. It's too difficult. It's like I've seen people who will say, "Pastor, pray for me. I don't want to smoke anymore." And after some time again, they go back to the same thing. They can see even up to 3 months, they say they didn't smoke. But after, it's like there's a push for them to go back. And they go back.
Well, I think we must understand the pressures why people start to smoke in the first instance.
Right.
If those things that are primary issues in their lives are not dealt with, they would return back to where they started. So it's like you take somebody out of poverty, you give him some money, but you don't teach him how to fish for himself. He's going to finish the money he has and he's going to come back and end up in poverty again. And you'd come looking for him and asking, but I gave you this money. So it's a process that you have to teach somebody how to walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Yeah, exactly.
So you push somebody out and you continue to monitor and support until the person is completely free.
Yeah, but there are some who are very, very rich and they're still smoking.
Rich?
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with money. It's a behavioral issue.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a behavioral issue, especially when we start. Peer pressure. Everybody is trying it, so you try it.
Yeah, exactly.
At some point, you get addicted. And because some people smoke when they are stressed, it becomes like chocolate is to a woman who is stressed or depressed.
Okay.
Cigarette becomes some sort of coolant.
Yeah, really.
So when they don't get to smoke, they get anxious that they have to rush and smoke something. That's addiction.
Yes.
And addiction is also an illness which you must give attention to,
yes.
and which you must treat,
yes.
And support addiction. Until all the traces of whatever is causing people to do this go away.
Wow.
But you have to support them.
Support them.
Yeah, it's like discipleship. Yeah. When you get somebody out of a situation, it has to be discipled. One of the issues and also the problem with the miracle is that after the miracle, you have to continue on a particular pathway.
Yeah.
So that miracles continue to come.
It's true.
Because the pastor doesn't live in your house.
No. It's true.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What about the mental sicknesses, mental symptoms?
Yeah.
So how do you refer? What do you refer as mental issues here? And what is behind them? Because before, once we say somebody is mental, we think it's just madness. I hope that concept have been redefined in Africa. So but here now, this mental problem involves us a lot, is that?
Yeah, there are, let's say, mental situations can be quite debilitating.
Okay.
Especially if they are severe mental illness. I think we need to make a distinction between light mental problems
and the severe
which
ones.
Everybody goes through, and there are severe ones that really puts an impact on the ability of the person to function.
Okay.
And do what he or she needs to do.
Give us examples of light mental issues and heavy mental issues.
Now, let's say stress is a form of a light mental problem. Light depression or just a nervous breakdown as a result of overwork. Relationship issues can be light if they can be dealt with immediately. But when people are undergoing diverse situations, they can really suffer deeper depressions. But if you see couples with relationship problems and you nip it in the bud with their participation and cooperation, then it's a light issue. We also have people with a lot of anxiety and fear, and young people also under peer pressure or performance issues.
Yeah.
We see a lot of young people when they leave their homes to go to the university and study. Suddenly they have to take care of everything, including sourcing for their food. Sometimes they have to work. Thank God for scholarships that the government pays in the Netherlands for people to go to school. But sometimes these people are not able to put it together. And a lot of stressful situations can arise from it, that they cannot perform, cannot meet up with the schoolwork. And of course, this country is very driven. If you are unable to perform at a high-stake job, you probably would get anxious when you go to meetings that you have to present. If you're someone that cannot take criticism in this country, you will not be able to last in a Dutch working environment. If you are, the Netherlands is already a very stressful situation. And for immigrants, especially first-generation immigrants who are unable to mix in properly with the Dutch system, the stress level is more. You have letters that you cannot read, you have bills that you cannot pay, you have jobs that are low-paying, and you have bills that are high. These things cause stress and anxiety.
It's true.
When your kids are out, and we talked about, we've talked in the past about culture and culture shocks and culture mixes. You have patterns that your kids are living in two different cultures, and they have a split loyalty to different cultures. It's almost like their personalities can change when they are in an African culture, and they become Africans, and when they are in a Dutch culture, they become Dutch. In between, they are lost. Confused, as it were, if it's possible, if they cannot adapt and adjust to some of these stressful situations. Also, this stress can arise when vulnerable children first generation immigrants are not properly supported from home because the parents are not schooled enough to be able to participate adequately in the system as it is here. So they have to do it all alone. All you have to do is to bring a cup of tea when they are studying, rub their back and say, I'm behind you. I'm running with you. I can't read this book with you, but I know you can read it. It's in Dutch. My Dutch is not so good, but yours is better. So you have to find ways to compensate for the things that you lack, especially in trying to bridge the younger population. If you're unable to do that, you will be stressed, your child will be stressed. When he goes out there, there will be a lot of anxiety in their performance. So these are the things we meet every day that brings small mental problems. If they are well structured, it can be taken care of. If there is support system, these things can be taken care of. And I see there are support systems within the community. But it's not always easy. And it's not always easily accessible to people that don't know what to look for. So they have to go to this place and go to this place. At the end of the day, they end up on my table for things that I don't even know how to help them with. They don't have a house, they come to me because they need a house. They have 2 children
They come to you
for a house. Because they've gone everywhere and they said, well, go to your doctor because your doctor probably knows. I know what to do if you have a headache, but I don't know what to do all the time if you don't have a house. But how I got this is there's a project we do in the healthcare that brings in nurse practitioners who deal with mental health. So for those issues, I have those people who are schooled in that particular aspect to give therapy to people who are going through these difficult situations as long as we can. If it's beyond our capacity in the general practice surgery, then we'll have to refer to a psychologist or a psychiatrist who would have enough time to guide people who are going through difficulties, mental health issues. So you see that from a disadvantaged position, we are pushed more into certain things that create stress, anxiety, conflicts in culture, and panic attacks within us. And they do come. And with stresses of life comes relationship issues. With stresses from Africa come a strain on the little income that people generate here. Because the average African who is here is supporting at least 5 other people down there in Africa. So you have to meet up with the high bills here, with the high demands in Africa, of families and friends, aged parents who need health care, and then you have to meet the needs of your children here and your needs. So minor mental health problems do exist amongst us. And heck is, in Holland they say, if you do normal, you're already crazy. As you normaal doe, doe je al gek genoeg. So if you behave normal, you're already crazy. So they understand the level of stress within the society.
So they expect that people will behave abnormal at a certain time.
I think the average,
because of the stress level.
The average just person understands that this country is run on knowledge basis, and they keep pushing the ends of the envelope so that we can. And they say, keep thinking until you can think better than the person before you. And I think it's made the Netherlands a very competitive country all over the world, with innovations, with development. We as first generation immigrants, we've missed a lot on that. We're hoping that our children will come in and step into those very big shoes. And part of the stress which we give them is that also we expect them to meet those needs.
Of course. It's important that they meet it.
They meet it, yes. But it's not easy. Because it's not even
because
anybody.
They cannot be born here and then they are living here and then they come and again suffer what we have suffered.
Yes, I agree with you, but suffering is is relative. One, let us say that they have better entry point in terms of language, in terms of knowing the culture. When we came, we hit a culture shock.
very
When
one.
we came, we
Big
hit a
one.
language problem.
Big one.
When we came, we didn't know how Dutch people behaved.
Yeah.
We stepped into the work environment, and some of us had to badge our way into a system until we found a place that can accommodate us.
Yes, exactly.
But for them, we expect more. And the fact that somebody and your community expects more from you can also put a lot of stress on you even. So we must not underestimate the amount of social stress
that
our young people are going through
how?
because of our expectation. Because we project what we could have been onto them.
Yeah, but for me, I don't even see it that way. I see that they are taking it so lightly, you know, because they are already in the culture, and the culture has made provision for them to also not to be
Overwhelmed.
overwhelmed, because there's always a way out to whatever situation they are going through. There's always a way out. You know, like a student here, you are already under, you can easily get your student loan and all of that. Quite unlike Africa, where you don't have where that one is going to come. If you cannot pay your tuition, you cannot pay. Do you understand? But here, it's not that way. So certain things are already defined, so they don't have that urge to overstretch themselves so much. But so it's making them a bit more, even more relaxed. More relaxed, and they don't want to put more effort to attain the heights which we expect them to attain.
Well, you may be right. There may be those who are relaxed, but it also depends on how families encourage young people to perform. I also know that there are pockets of young people within our communities that are doing extremely well.
Yeah.
And you will be surprised, some of them are single parent homes of mothers who work day and night, who would know that their child needs to study, who would be there at school meetings,
That's a good one.
Even though they do not understand everything that is said there, who will go at the meetings to discuss with the teachers, even though they don't know, who would bring a cup of tea when a son or a daughter is studying, who will be interested and show interest in the welfare of their children. Some of these people struggle out of this, and a lot of them, we need to celebrate them.
Yes, exactly.
But you know, everybody cannot perform at the same high level.
No.
Everybody cannot be a doctor or a pilot or an engineer. We also need the carpenters and the teachers, and especially I want to say that those who have skills in this country are sure of a job.
Yes.
They are sure of an income. They are sure of starting their own businesses. They are sure of making it tomorrow. There are highly qualified people who are finding it difficult to get a job, or a job in the area where they trained.
It's true.
So we need to encourage them to gather a skill, but we also must be careful about putting unnecessary burden, because we project what we would have been onto their lives, and that will bring mental health problems onto the children.
Yes, exactly. So being a doctor in this environment, do you see our children? Do you see us having more mental problem?
I don't know
compared to the average Amsterdamer.
I don't know if it is more or less, but I know that the immigrants.
Because you could see that the percentage here is 12% versus 7%.
I understand, but let's look at who is measuring and the social environment that the measurements are being done.
Okay.
We are here and we are first generation. We are bound to have more of these stressful life conditions. Okay. So if you measure at those levels, yes, we would have. Do we deal well with them? We are doing extremely well in dealing and cushioning life's problems within us. We still have a very social network amongst us, but it's not as joined together as we have in our homes in Africa. But we do have meeting points where we still come, where we still support. The churches within our environment, they are a wonderful network that magnets our people together for a joint purpose, but also for common purpose, so that we tend to see socio-economic transformation of our communities, not just their social, their economic well-being. We need to see them grow. These things are things within our environment that has a cushioning effect on the impact of life. So we may have more people who are stressed because we're all stressed.
Yeah.
We go through particular situations. We are a peculiar situation.
Yes.
And we are still struggling. But you see, you're measuring and comparing with people in the Centrum who are probably born speaking Dutch.
Okay, yes.
They listened to Dutch songs while they were in their mother's womb. So they have no reason not to perform better.
Yes,
They
yes,
have
yes,
no
yes.
reason not to. They have no reason to have more mental health problems than we do. But yet they do, and I think if you compare, they do have challenges.
Okay.
Because their social network, that's a support system,
Yeah.
is not always as large
As ours.
as ours.
Okay.
So we'll be talking about a whole church supporting one person who is going through crisis. But theirs is a much more smaller network, and if that network is broken, you are on your own.
Hey.
You might have social systems that may cushion, but these are structured programs
Yeah.
within the healthcare system that would help. And it's also something that where people are not always very good at exploiting. Okay, and we did talk about the serious mental health problems.
Yeah, serious
Those
ones.
serious ones are people who are attempting suicide
Oh.
because of these health issues.
Yeah.
We have people suffering from psychosis, illnesses, people suffering from severe depression or manic situations. These are things that you do not want to have.
Yes.
We also have people who are struggling as a result of what we call post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes.
These are people who have been through a lot, and we've seen them. Those of our brothers and sisters who have been sold, and they've had to do very bad things to be able to survive.
Yeah.
They've had to prostitute. They were forced to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
There are those who survived crossing the Mediterranean,
Yeah.
and they saw dead bodies all over them, and they thought they would be the next one.
Yes.
There are those who went through wars, and they came out battered. They've seen their family slaughtered in front of them. They've seen women,
Yes, being raped.
pregnant women being raped,
Yes.
bellies open and children
Hey.
taken out.
Yeah.
We've seen people coming out from the Middle East who have had to walk through the Middle East, walk through Turkey, walk through countries to end up in Western Europe.
Yes.
These are people who have seen wars. So they are traumatized mentally.
Yeah.
Recently,
It's not easy at all.
it's not easy. These
No.
are very serious mental health problems.
Yes.
And that people, even though they would like to forgive, they do not always forget.
Yes. How can you forget something like this?
No, it's not.
I think it will continue to ring a bell.
It does, but this is reality. And if we could join people all over the world to say we should rather do more to establish peace than to propagate war.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because this part of our history is very terrible.
It is. It is. More especially when you are part of it, when you witness it. If you only hear it as history, as story, without witnessing it, without being part of it, then you can easily brush it under the carpet.
Yeah.
But if you become a victim, I think it's very terrible.
It's terrible.
May
Yes.
God
It
spare
is
us from
terrible.
this. May God, it's horrible.
I think God is already
Ooh.
provided for us to be spared from it. But
So-
man has continued to lead us on a path of destruction.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
So how can this mental issue be mitigated?
Well, put people who are trading other people in jail, for starters. I think as a community, we need to find a balance in looking for money and educating ourselves and educating our children properly. We need to realize that a strong family means a stronger community and a better place to raise our children. and we need to go for stronger families instead of going for more euros in our pockets. We'll have time for our children.
Yes.
We need support for social services, where you see families that are struggling. You do not just come in and take their children away.
Exactly.
You help them. You help them to fix it so that they can carry on.
Exactly.
Instead of taking their children away.
Because that one is devastating.
Yes, you create more problems than solutions.
But the government, are they not seeing that this aspect is devastating?
Well, they're supposed to see it because they have eyes, but the government doesn't have eyes. Government has numbers and figures and money and power. So we have to, from within our population, begin to raise voices that this solution is not working.
But those of you who are doctors can tell them more. I think you have more to say in this aspect.
I think we all have more to say, whether we are doctors or cleaners or teachers or pastors. All our voices. The doctor has only one vote, just one vote. Now, we all have votes, thousands and thousands of votes.
Yeah.
One person's voice is not enough. One person's glory is not enough.
Yes, yes.
We all have to say it from every corner. That's when they begin to hear us. From every corner of our community, we need to say, no, this plan is not culturally sensitive enough. It doesn't solve the problem. It puts more stress within the unit. Of course, if there are extreme situations, we understand that children may need to be taken out of homes. But we need families to be supported,
yes,
so that they can create an atmosphere where we are all happy.
That child, you know?
Yeah.
Family is the backbone of the child. If you take the child out of the family, then you have disorganized that family.
Yeah.
I pray something will be done towards that.
Well, we need to do something together.
So if anybody is watching this program out there and you feel like giving us a call, please remember the studio line is 020-3374-160. Our topic is, why do Bijlmer Centrum residents have lesser health than their counterparts? So our guest today is Dr. F. Ogbuli, medical practitioner here in Southeast. So, Doc, can we talk about the overweight of the 10-year-olds who, according to the research, is about 31% versus 24%? In your practice, do you see kids who are overweight?
Yes, I do see children who are overweight.
Are they from migrant community?
There's quite a number of children from migrant community who are overweight, and there are also those who are healthy in terms of weight. Again, the issue of not seeing that health is a spectrum and it's just not one aspect.
Yeah.
But obesity as an early stage in life is not good.
It's true.
It puts you at risk of developing other things in the future. So we need to, it's something that we need to assess and deal with. Yeah.
What can you say to the parents? How can you, what can you say to them, you know, what advice you have for the parents to help them reduce this problem?
Well, I think it's good to look at where obesity is coming from in the first instance. Since the kids, when we were growing up, we played outside. We ran to school.
Yeah.
We came back.
Yes.
We played with every kid outside. We didn't have gadgets that we stuck to at home.
Yeah.
So kids today are moving less than they did 20, 30 years ago when we were kids. So, and you know, and here we have food. Again, poor families have a tendency to eat less healthy food. Instead of cooking properly, because maybe to access biological products are much more expensive.
Yeah.
They go for McDonald's or KFC. These are easy things to eat, but they contain a lot of fat. And if you don't burn those calories, they would be stored somewhere and stay somewhere if they are not burned. It's much more easier to gain and much more difficult to lose. So they stay there. So we need to let our kids go out and play more.
Okay.
And we need to watch what we feed them at home. The healthier, lots of vegetables and fruits. Avoid snoop, sweets. Avoid high sugar containing drinks or syrups. They contain a lot of sugar. And these things, they make you bigger on the long run. We need to make our children move. Most importantly, when children move and they are more active, their brains are better developed. They will pick up more. And they will react much more faster, much more healthy. And when kids play outside, they interact with other children. So the playground interaction makes a person who is biologically human become socially human. Interaction with other children. That's also where kids learn with guidance how to manage conflicts.
It's true.
And deal with issues with the in the future they will deal with issues with the larger world. But mixing up with other children helps them to develop conflict solving abilities.
It's true.
They also get to experience conflict because a lot of work places in Holland, they will sound like conflict situation to the African who is not used to criticism. But to the average Dutch, it's not conflict. This is how the system works. They squeeze that last drop of thought or plan out of your head, and then they wait for the next one to come for them to squeeze out again. So yes, it's how things how we develop this. So children will learn by interacting with other children outside how to deal with conflicts. But it's also good that we teach them basic.
We're not open to criticisms,
But our
that's
children,
where we are being brought up from Africa.
I think,
and we are still struggling with it.
Yes, we're not used to. We quarrel instead of taking in criticism and doing something with it. It's also that when somebody gives you a reaction, you either go in offense or defense mode. But you could also say to the person, well, what I heard you saying to me now is that I should not have parked in your parking space because that one is the one allotted to you. I get it. So he or she knows that you heard what you said. You've acknowledged the person. You've heard the person. You've responded to the person. You have nipped a conflict in the bud, and that's how the system works. So children learn how to, but you have to teach your children basic things about listening to some other person. Because every day we deal with conflicts at home. A child comes and asks some strange question, and maybe you don't have time to answer. You get angry. So it's a conflict situation. And the child says, why are you angry? I'm just asking a question. And at home, a conflict is created. How you solve that problem puts an imprint in the child's brain. You say, well, sorry, I was angry. I should have told you that I'm busy, that I don't have enough time to listen to you at this point in time. I'm sorry. Please, can you tell me again what you wanted to say? Conflict solving. And that would help to create interaction. Right, you have kids who stay on distance every day. They don't move. So we expect parents to engage. They say, okay, there are these things on the internet, on the television, on the PlayStation. Do you know you can play tennis on them? You have a sensor in your hand, and you play, and the other child plays. It's almost like you're playing a tennis game on it. So you can actually take the center table off and begin to play tennis with your children. Doesn't matter if it's not, you're not going to break any window
Yeah.
in your house. You
Yeah.
just slam and the ball goes this way and the other person slams again. You can play games. You can run
Yeah.
on those games together with the children.
Oh, okay.
So you must engage in a way that increases body activity.
Yes.
It is healthy for mother.
Yeah.
It is healthy for children. It's
Yes.
healthy for father.
Yeah.
It creates interaction between families.
Okay.
So you do not just come home and lock yourself away. You
Yes.
must have time to interact with one another.
Yes.
That sense of family is good for the social support system.
Yes.
Less mental health issues coming up.
Yes.
It's good for physical exercise.
Yes, yes,
It's
yes.
good for the home.
It's very, very, very good. But, you know, because the parents have maybe more than one job, so because they must make ends meet. So when they have gone to first job, second job, they are back, they are tired. So they may not have the ability to, you know, stay awake and be playing the game alongside with the child.
I think it's true that you may be tired by the time you get home.
Yes.
But there are things that you are passionate about. Are you often tired when you deal with those things that you're passionate about? We should be passionate about our families.
Yes.
We should be passionate about spending time with our partners and our children. We should be passionate about building into the next generation ideals that we ourselves cherish, but it's some value that you want to add to those coming after you.
Yes, it's true.
You need to have time to do it. This thing needs to be our passion. Because at the end of the day, the money will come and it will go.
Exactly.
But the people you lose may not always come back
No,
to you.
you got to be merciful.
Yeah.
This is really,
Yeah.
really
So,
a tough decision.
well, it's part of what we have to do, and it's part of also our desire
Because
that
if you look at the indigenous,
if our kids are more obese, we need to have them to be less obese.
it's true. It's true.
Kids need to be registered to play sport. And if you cannot afford the money, there's the youth health funds that can help to pay for your son or your daughter's sport contribution. So 3 times a week, they got to play a game. Again, they get exposed to other children.
Yeah.
And they have interactions that matter and
Of
build
course.
up.
But they cannot do that alone. That's what I'm just trying to say. They need also the support of the parents. And here, these parents living in this neighborhood we are describing are having 2 or 3 jobs because of poverty. So they have to, they must go through these jobs to be able to meet up every month with all the things they need to pay. So when they have rallied around and they are back from job, they don't give their children this support system that the children also need to be out to play and interact in the sports centrum and all of those things. You see?
I think in 100% they might not be able to give. But I think we should aim at getting at least 50% of our parents participating
Yes.
actively
That would
in
be
the
nice.
life of their children. 'Cause this is our tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we cannot
Afford
bury
Yes.
the chances of our today,
Yes.
our tomorrow, because our today is very painful. It's good to know your past. Without your past, you cannot be able to plan your future.
Yeah.
But it's very important for us to walk with our eyes open to what tomorrow will be. And I think the most powerful things is that men could see tomorrow today. They can walk towards their dreams and visions because they see tomorrow.
Yeah.
And but if you see tomorrow but don't do anything, you're a dreamer.
It's true.
Yeah. So
It's
we
true.
must see our tomorrow. We must walk towards it.
Yes.
We must all pull our strength together. Whether you are a bricklayer or a carpenter
Yeah.
or an engineer or a teacher or a pastor,
Yeah.
we must work towards that direction with our children.
Okay, Doc, we just have some few minutes, about two minutes or 3 minutes to go. But can we just tackle the issue of child abuse. So, is it child abuse? Do you notice any case of that in your practice? In your practice?
I must say, well, what is child abuse? I think there's a definition that is culturally sensitive. But because we live largely in a country with a particular cultural pattern, some of the things that for the average immigrant may seem like normal correction of a child
Of course.
is probably out of league, out of order here.
Yeah.
I think in all honesty, we would condemn any physical abuse of children.
Yes.
And we do that when people, for whatever reason, whether they are frustrated with the child, whether the child is not listening or hearing or not obeying, we cannot physically abuse children.
Okay.
I think that in our community, with the level of stress and the need to earn money to meet the bills, that neglecting your children is actually child abuse.
Yeah.
If you have to go to work because you have to put food on the table, but you don't have the ability to get a proper care for your children, it is child abuse.
Yeah, in a way.
And we keep saying it and saying that parents must spend time with their children because a healthy family is a healthy community.
Yes.
A healthy community is a healthy city. A healthy city is a healthy nation.
Yeah.
And the government must do everything it can to support families that are struggling, because out of those families you can get the mayors that would take care of this city tomorrow.
Yeah.
You get the civil servants, you get the policemen and the firemen and the teachers and the industrialists who will run this country tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we must support the weak as well as the strong amongst us. And again, we would support people giving a corrective pick, but we would not. But children are abused more when couples are fighting,
Yeah, exactly.
separating,
Okay.
and refusing to work together to take care of their children. There are parents who refuse to pay alimony. Again, if you beat up your wife or your husband in presence of your children, it's abuse. When children watch their parents fight, it's traumatic. When their mothers are hurt and they see the woman is hurt and crying all the time because they are going through a divorce, it is traumatic for the children. They are vulnerable. They have allegiance to both parents.
Yeah.
And what they see is traumatic to them.
Yeah.
And you'd ask a child, who do you love more? Your father or your mother?
Yes.
Who would you go with if they get divorced? These are things that a child should not be confronted with if they are growing up.
Yes.
Yet we see, if these things are not provided to a vulnerable child, it is child abuse. So again, we must come in at points where we can help families that are going through these difficulties so that they can be in a better position to take care of children.
Is abuse more related to single parenthood?
I think the need of the child is to have a balanced situation in the first instance.
Yes.
The moment we easily allow families to dysfunction is a failure of our society to engage early and solve problems before couples get a divorce. Because we know that if they are together and they are too taught to be together, they can raise healthier children. It is not good to leave one parent to raise children. It is a lot more stressful on that person because you can't go to work and come back and not be tired, and you still have to bring out enough strength to support the children and go to all the places where they should. And we know from things we are getting from the community that there are parents who refuse to pay alimony for children's upkeep.
Yeah.
So often the children are left with the mothers, And mothers can juggle a lot, but it's not easy. So again, you see mothers who are tired.
Yes.
Come to you and say, I'm tired.
Yeah.
The children are asking, where is my daddy? Say, I don't know. And
It's terrible.
yes, so you have to support mothers who are struggling, children who are hyperactive,
Yes.
and asking questions that they cannot provide immediate answers for, which they do not have.
Yes.
And that is stressful. In those situations, it's more or less abuse, because we have not provided the rightful environment. If people are deliberately being wicked to their children,
Yes.
it's an abuse, you'll understand it.
Yes.
But due to circumstances of life, you will find yourself in some stressful situation. And again, when you find yourself in that situation, we do not, or the law does not expect you to be physically abusive to your children. You should also not be mentally abusive to the children.
Yes.
Like calling them names
Yes.
or cursing them. They will
Yeah.
remember.
Yes.
They may forgive you, but
Yes.
they will remember
Yeah.
in the future that you abused them as your parent, as a parent.
Yeah.
These are things we see in our environment.
Yes.
It might not be peculiar to the African, but it is here and we need to address it.
Yes.
It's easy to just raise your hand and beat, but it never solved any problem.
No.
And you find out there's a pattern. Those who went through the same processes, which was maybe normally accepted in Africa with question marks, because we do not really accept physical abuse of children.
Yeah.
A corrective pattern is accepted, but without you trying to hurt this child. But again, we must support parents so that they can support and raise their children properly.
Wow.
Then we don't have those abuses.
Exactly.
And again, who is looking and who is thinking is an abuse? A lot of the things is culturally determined. But if you look at it from a Dutch perspective, they think it's an abuse.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. But you know, just to end up the distance, because I wanted to say there was also a time when the Dutch people were not so strict with this so-called abuse terms we are
Physical
using now.
abuse and stuff.
They were not so, I mean, they were also talking very loudly to the children.
Children,
They were
yeah.
also spanking the children. They were doing those things until after some years, no, to this breed of Dutch people now decided not to be doing it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not nice to physically abuse children, but you must also realize that emotionally abusing children is also abuse. When you don't show love to your child, it's also abuse. When you can't hug a child, when you can't encourage a child, when you don't feed a child well, it is also abuse. So it's not only Africans that buy McDonald's to their children. Every other culture buys McDonald's.
Yeah.
I don't know how often they do it
Yeah,
per
but
week.
they don't even think that it's not good food for their children, you know. They even think it is a delicacy for them. Yeah.
That's another topic for another time. I think you should invite the managers of KFC and McDonald's to have a talk with them about what they supply, healthy or non-healthy.
Yes.
They do some good things like the Ronald McDonald House in AMC, where they pay for upkeep of mothers who their children are admitted in the children's hospital in AMC here in Amsterdam. But you should get them on the table to talk about healthy food. What's their view on it? What's their take on it? It will help. But again, health is a complete state of physical, mental, and social well-being. So each time we talk about health, we do not say, oh, your child is obese, that means you're a bad parent. It's not enough. Because even though you may not have fed your child healthy, you may have also done other things good. And I think as a society and as a people and as government agencies, we need to help people take care of their inadequacies by coaching and support instead of punishing them.
Wow. So, Doc, Thank you so much for so far.
Thank you.
Would you then look into the camera and please tell those who have listened to you um, just one or two things that we can do to improve our health standard?
What I would like to give you today is that you are responsible for your own health, and that the first step is to find a balance on your journey.
Yes, okay.
As Africans, we have been on a journey from having to forcefully cross the Atlantic for 400 years to having been colonized for another hundreds of years, and to voluntary migration for the last 50 years. We're a people that are dynamic, but again, we have to find a balance between settling down and adopting healthy practices.
Yeah.
It is our responsibility, and nobody can do it for you.
Yes.
It's your responsibility to know the nation that you are going to settle in. It's your responsibility to get an education. It's a responsibility to know how the system works. And it's your responsibility to have your children taken proper care of. Our children are our heritage. They are the best things we have. Our wives and husbands are also a gift. We should treat them with a lot of caution, a lot of love, and a lot of value added. But how can you add a value to other people if you have not added value to yourself?
Exactly.
So start today. Add value to your life so that you can add value to me, to your wife, to your husband, to your children. And thank you for watching, and keep watching on Majesty Television.
Wow, this is awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Ogbuli. Thank you so much for being with us. We have enjoyed this time with you, and we look forward to having you more and more and more. Thank you so much.
Amen.
God richly bless you.
You.
And those of you who have watched us, remember this has come live to you from Majesty TV network, and we encourage you to continue to watch Majesty TV. And don't forget, you can always go to our website, download this on our YouTube, and then spread it to others who have not listened to it. Do justice to this tape and let it go. God richly bless you, and we'll see you again next week. Bye for now.